Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Huangji Jingshi bi-monthly workshop. Today is a pilot run. I call this as a pilot run. Let us see how things goes. And then if let's say this is something that you are looking out for, then we may continue to run the bi-monthly workshop. Then together, we can look at the hexagram, the energies, and then we try to project forward what could happen in the coming 2 months, right? So this is one of the objective for today. Yeah. Okay, so let me go to my slides. Some admin. It's the same admin. If you have been with me for a while, you should know what are the admin instructions. Number one, you all will be muted as admin. Number two, the session will be recorded so that once it's ready, I'll upload to the portal and you can watch it again. Next will be the chat box is on the right. So all your questions, whatsoever, opinion, comments, insights, everything go to the right-hand side chat box, yeah? Okay, I'll skip the introduction part because I think by now you should know me well and I should know you well also. So I'll skip this part. This one, house rules, 2 house rules as usual. Number one, don't believe everything I say because whatever I'm going to share with you today are all my insights from understanding the hexagrams. Okay, but they may not be your insights. You may not agree with them. It is fine. So as we move on with this workshop, so let us agree to disagree. All right. So you may see the energies. You may not agree with what I say, but you may be right. I may be wrong, or both of us could be right. Doesn't matter. So today is just for learning and sharing. So the more we share, the more we can cross learn from each other. What you see, I may have missed out. Okay, so this is rule number one. Don't believe everything I say. Rule number two is to learn with a growth mindset. So I may have a lot of things to learn from you also. So I do hope all of us share, participate, and then just type into the chat box what you feel and what you see and what insights you got. Yeah. Okay. So disclaimer: this is not a lesson. This is not a program that teach you a tool because the tools are already taught you in 黄极金氏 year hexagram and 黄极金氏 day hexagram. This round we are more like a discussion, okay, more like discussion, cross sharing. We just share what we see lah, okay, and then hopefully we can also collectively project forward what could the coming 2 months be like. How does that sound good to you? Is that good? Okay, so this is how I arrange this workshop, this pilot run workshop. I break it up into 3 parts. So going forward, if there is something that you think, there's some areas that you think I can improve to make this workshop more interesting and enjoyable, okay, and more fruitful, then you let me know in the feedback form, yeah? Okay, so this is how I'm going to break it up for this pilot run. Number one is reminders. Reminders meaning just to remind every one of us those critical things and informations that we learned in the year and the day hexagram. So with that in mind, all of us will be on the same page, and then we can move forward with module 2 and module 3. Yeah, module 2 is about flashing back the past 2 months. That mean on hindsight, looking back, actually it's so much easier to look at event and then tie it back to the hexagram. Looking forward is tough, but we have to learn, right? We have to learn. And what's the best way to learn is to look back, gain the insight so that it become your foresight, and then we project forward, okay, based on the next 2 months hexagram. So I will need everyone's participation. Yeah, is that okay? Okay, so after that, module 3 will be forecasting, forecasting. So that, once we forecast already, we say, oh, most likely the next 2 months, this is going to happen, this might happen, this might happen, okay? Then we can monitor. Okay, we can monitor day by day. And in the next bi-monthly workshop, if there is going to be one, okay, then we will again do this module 2, module 3, module 2, module 3, yeah? Looking back, project forward, looking back, project forward. That's where we can learn faster. Okay, so are you all ready to get started? Type a yes in the chat box if you are. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Kelvin. Thank you, Fiona. Okay, module 1, reminders. A quick one. This is just a quick refresher on the year and day histogram that we have learned, so that we are all on the same page when we move out to module 2 and 3. Yeah. Okay, good. Now, a quick refresher is the methods of analysis. I won't be going through how we derive at the year. I won't be going through how we derive at the day. But what is it that we do once we have the year and the day hexagram? Okay, what do we do? Right? So we'll use these few methods to analyze the energy and gain insights. So number one is hexagram name. Hexagram name means looking at the name for the hexagram. More or less, it tells us that day energy, what is the overarching energy. For example, just now Philip mentioned about he saw 地水师, right? Symbolism. So straight away, 师 means leading. Leading means you winning, taking the lead. Okay, taking the lead. So therefore, hexagram name actually brings out the essence of the hexagram energy. So that one plays a big part in our analysis today. Number two, symbolism. Symbolism meaning looking at the hexagram, is there any kind of image that comes out strongly to you? If there is, okay, read that symbolism and what it means to you. Your insights, basically. Yeah. Next, third one, commentaries. Commentaries basically means the more philosophical part, means the 卦辞, the 象辞, the 断辞. Okay, basically these three. And sometimes we also go into the 爻辞,爻辞 also. So, and then last but not least, I think in the day histogram, I also share with you something called the 教示意灵 system, where we use to read the energy, the transiting energy from this histogram to that histogram. What is that transiting energy? So 教示意灵 did us a very big favor. Why? Because the author of that book, of that system, he ran through the pair. He ran through the pair. For example, 乾卦至乾卦，乾卦至兑卦，乾卦至地水师卦. You know, he ran through all these pairs, all the pairs. Total there should be, I think, based on that permutation, I think 4,000 over pairs. Okay, so he wrote down. Okay, he wrote down his insights. Okay, his insights into a book called 教示意灵. So we make use of that. 既然 he already wrote that out, he already planted the tree and now the tree become our shade. Why not we sit under the shade and enjoy his work, or his wonderful work. Okay, so we also use 教示意灵 in the analysis part. Last but not least, while looking at this energy and how it all plays out, we also need to add on a little bit of our creative imagination and not forgetting common sense, and also not forgetting the backdrop of the current context that we are living in. For example, now there is war. Okay, now there's a Russian-Ukraine war, and therefore, when we read energy about war and things like that, then we may want to relate to the Russian-Ukraine war. But that does not mean that some other parts of the world there won't be war. There might be. Okay, so we need to know the current backdrop. So that makes our analysis much easier. And then the most important part about I Ching, when reading the I Ching energy, is to do 推理. Okay, 推理, 理象数 that 理, so in this part here, we're trying to push, 推 means push, to infer, to do some reasoning with the principles. Okay, basically this is what we are trying to do here, right? Next, another important things to note is that do note that when we talk about the day to day one, it doesn't mean that the day will start at 0000 hours to 2359 hours. It doesn't mean that. I think I've explained in the day histogram. If you've forgotten, log back into the training portal, rewatch the video. Yeah, depending, because each hexagram will run about 1 point something days. Okay, 1 point something days. So as it runs, it will eat up into, beyond zero, what I call that, 000 hours to 2359. Okay, so just be careful about this part here. And next is natural plus man-made calamities. For natural calamities like earthquake lah, tsunami lah, when the energy comes, tendency is that the natural calamities will just follow accordingly. It's a matter of magnitude. Okay. Good afternoon, Holly. You're just in time. We just started only. Now, for man-made calamities, a lot of time it can be prevented. Why I say that is, although the energy of the day comes in, like for example, 地水师 or 天水送. Let's take 天水送, easier to explain also. 天水送 arguing. Now, when a day brings about a 天水送 energy, the tendency is that the influence on people is that whoever that are more short circuit one, short fuse one, they tend to get into argument or dispute with other people faster and easier than the rest. Okay, this is what I've observed. So therefore, if you already have the inclination or the urge to argue with someone, then when it comes to a day of 天水送 day, your urge will grow. Okay, your urge will grow. And if you give in to that urge, that is where you manifest the energy of the hexagram. Now, if you know that day is a quarrelsome day, then if you pull back yourself, you can avoid a lot of man-made disasters. So this is what I mean by man-made calamities. It is preventable. So a lot of time it needs to depend on self-restraints. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Next, for the purpose of this workshop, I will use major world events because these are more traceable. Okay, traceable, and it is public domain information. So therefore, we can use that as a credible information to back up the what we saw from the energy of the hexagram. Okay, then again, the problem with major world event is like that. 不好的事 is everywhere. Yeah, that means something like a war or people quarrel with whoever, it will be out in the news. But things that are good, positive side, usually is not that newsworthy and therefore it is not reported. So therefore, if you run across day-to-day hexagram and you look at the energy, pretty good, you find that when you look up news, look up CNA, Straits Time, you don't tend to find any events, incident to back up that hexagram. But the moment it goes to those lousy incidents, is everywhere. Okay, so as you go on, you see that, hey, how come every day when we look at all the day hexagram, I'm always sharing with you all the lousy events. Okay, lousy event means the negative events. Right? So that is how it is. Okay, next. Bear with me. If let's say there are certain days, okay, the hexagram, I have nothing to show you. Even though there is a very lousy hexagram, but I have nothing to show you. Why it can happen this way is number one, something could have happened, but nobody reported. I mean, it's not in the news. That's number one. So I didn't get it. Number two, something happened. It is reported. I miss it. Okay, it didn't show up in my Facebook. It didn't show up in my Google search. So I miss it. So therefore, since I got nothing to shout about for the hexagram, I leave it. I don't talk about it. All right. So that can happen as we go along later on in the workshop. All right. So if I do miss out, but you know that it happened on this day or for this hexagram, do highlight in the chat box. Okay. So we can discuss that. Yeah. All right. So this is what you're going to do. Any questions so far? If you have any suggestion how to improve this workshop, you do let me know.